As China sets its sights on the moon, the United States has something more distant on its mind: Mars. The space agency NASA continues to press ahead with its plans to send humans to the red planet in the next 2 decades. And just this week, the US Congress voted to give NASA billions of dollars in funding to keep it on that track. CCTV's Callebs spoke exclusively with the agency's administrator right here in Washington.
First of all, it's been a great week for NASA, and I have to go all the way back to last week because it's been a great 7-day period of time, beginning with the announcement by the administration that the president had agreed that we should extend the life of the International Space Station to 2004. And we 2024, I'm sorry. And we went right from that decision by the president into 2 days of international forum. One, the first at the State Department, the first ever International Space Exploration Forum, where there were representatives from 35 nations around the world to talk about space exploration. And we were all just excited to find out how excited they were that the United States was going to lead again in prolonging the life of the International Space Station. And then to roll into this week with the budget coming out, we got almost everything the president had asked for in the budget in terms of the top line. So it has been a great week.
I want to go over a couple things real quickly. $3.1 billion for the Mars mission, $1.2 billion for work on Orion. What is that going to mean to NASA, and what is that going to mean to space exploration?
Well, it means great things for the world, actually. For NASA, it means that we will continue to be the world's leader in space exploration. It gives us an opportunity to continue to kind of shepherd all of our partner nations as we seek to learn more about humanity, first of all, but also more about the questions we ask. You know, those really big questions about where did it all come from? How did we get here? Is there life elsewhere in the universe? And so the money gives us the opportunity to continue to expand our quest for knowledge about this world in which we live.
Let's talk about the commercial side of this, because there's almost $700 million for commercial entities. How will they play in? Because you've been very clear about the fact you're not a big fan of the fact paying $70 million per person, $60 to $70 million to go up to the International Space Station. How close is the United States to tapping into that commercial aspect?
We are into the commercial aspect now for cargo. I'm very proud to say that effective now, we have 2 American companies, Orbital Sciences from right here in the DC area, and SpaceX out of Hawthorne, California, that now carry cargo to the International Space Station, not only for NASA, but in the case of SpaceX, they now are carrying satellites to geosynchronous orbit for private entities and soon for other countries. So we're helping to bring the launch market back to American shores where we think it should be. The big thing, though, is commercial crew, and that's what you were talking about. And we're within 4 years of having the capability to once again launch American astronauts and our partner astronauts from American soil, and that's really exciting.
What kind of frustration do you have personally knowing that there's been this void from the U.S. being able to send people up into space?
I would, if I can push back a little bit, there has not been a void of American involvement in exploration and human spaceflight. You know, there are a lot of different ways. We will always, till the end of time from here on out, we are going to be united with other nations in exploring. And sometimes we will use the spacecraft most times we'll use our own spacecraft, but there may be times that we want to use another spacecraft because it better fits the mission or whatever it is. And that's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to bring nations together such that they realize that we should have multiple ways to get to low Earth orbit, multiple ways eventually even to get to deep space. But right now, the only nation that has the capability of leading that type of effort is the United States, and we're very proud to have that challenge. So I think it's been good. We've been on the International Space Station without interruption. I have 3 granddaughters. One is 7, one's 11, one's 13. The 13-year-old doesn't know what a day is like, doesn't know what a second of her life is like for there not to be an American astronaut orbiting Earth on the International Space Station. And that's a big deal.
That's a great time code, too,
to
have in your life. I want to ask you a couple of things. I read this quote in Asian Times newspaper. Tell me if you think this is fair. Quote here, not surprisingly, a key voice in opposing NASA China restrictions is NASA Administrator Charlie Bolden, who has been increasingly forthright in his attempts to get Congress to lift those restrictions. True? And if so, why?
I am a believer in, I'm an internationalist, let me put it that way. I will tell people the U.S. and China work together today in the space program, and we do that with the, blessing is not a good word, we do that with the full knowledge and I hope confidence of the U.S. Congress, because we have two areas in which we are working diligently with the Chinese, and they are both in the area of earth science. One is in the area of geodetics, trying to understand earthquakes, their origin. You can't, you know, being able to predict them would be great. And the second area is in glacial characterization in the Himalayan mountain region, where we are working collaboratively with China and 8 other Himalayan nations. So we continue to work collaboratively in partnership with China in the area of Earth observations and Earth science.
Recently, the French Space Agency said they could see a time, perhaps within the next 3 years, that China could be involved with the International Space Station. I read a quote from you that you're not nearly that optimistic.
The International Space Station is exactly what it says, and believe it or not, this may come as news to people. China is already active on the International Space Station in that they are a partner. There is an investigative team on the alpha magnetic spectrometer, which is an absolutely incredible, it is a basic physics experiment that's headed up by Dr. Sam Ting, who is, I am convinced that he is going to see at least a Nobel Prize come from the alpha magnetic spectrometer that is currently resident on the International Space Station. And one of the investigative teams is a team that is made up of scientists from China and scientists from Taiwan as one team. That speaks volumes.
Great. Yeah. Well, we could talk more, but I know you have to catch
I wish we could, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to get together again.
Okay. General, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks so very much.
Best of luck.
This was great.